Captain John Martinez stared at the message on his screen. He read it 3 times to make sure he understood correctly. The Galactic Council had sent an ultimatum to Earth. They wanted humans to stop their technology growth and reduce their space fleet. His ship floated near Jupiter, far from Earth, but close enough to feel the weight of this news. "Captain, should we return to Earth?" asked his first officer. John nodded slowly. "Yes, set course for home. The President will need every ship now." As his ship turned toward Earth, John thought about what this meant. 50 years ago, aliens had found Earth. At first, things seemed good. Humans learned they were not alone. They joined a group of 26 alien races called the Galactic Council. But over time, relations grew cold. Many council races feared how fast humans built new technology and ships. Back on Earth, Lisa Coleman walked into a room filled with worried faces. As Earth's top diplomat, she had been called to an emergency meeting of the United Earth government. "The Council demands we stop our AI research," she told them. "They want us to destroy 70% of our ships. They say we are too warlike and grow too fast." President Samantha Reeves stood up. She was a tall woman with gray hair who rarely showed fear. Today, her face looked grim. "What do they really want, Lisa?" she asked. "They want us weak," Lisa said simply. "They fear what we might become." The room grew quiet. Everyone knew what this meant. For years, some council races had tried to slow human progress. Now they had enough votes to force humans to obey or face punishment. High Counselor Zach Steele sent a personal message. Lisa added, "The Varaxian Empire leads this push against us. They say our AI work breaks council rules. They want inspectors on Earth within 30 days. President Reeves looked at the military leaders in the room. Options. Admiral Kate Perry spoke first. "We can't win a direct fight. The Council has thousands of ships. We have hundreds. We could appear to comply while we negotiate," suggested George Winters, the defense minister. President Reeves nodded slowly. She pressed a button on her desk. "I am now activating Exodus Protocol. This conversation is sealed at the highest level." Many in the room looked surprised. Exodus Protocol was a plan created 5 years ago when relations with the Council first turned bad. It was a last resort plan that few knew existed. "While we pretend to talk with the Council, we will prepare our people to leave," the President said. "If they won't let us grow here, we will find somewhere beyond their reach." She turned to her science advisor, Dr. Alan Wright. "How close are the new jump drives?" Dr. Wright was a quiet man who rarely spoke at these meetings. He looked up from his tablet. "We've had a breakthrough. The prototype works in tests. With more resources, we could install them on large ships within 6 months." "You have 3 months," President Reeves said. "Every resource you need is yours." As the meeting continued, plans formed quickly. Earth would seem to follow Council demands while secretly preparing to leave. It would be the largest migration in human history. That night, John Martinez's ship reached Earth orbit. From space, the planet looked peaceful. Blue oceans, white clouds, and green land showed no sign of the crisis happening below. John received new orders. His ship would help guard the outer planets where secret work would soon begin. As he looked at Earth through his viewport, he wondered if he would ever see his home planet again. In her office, President Reeves watched the sun set over Washington. Soon she would tell humanity they needed to leave their home. Not everyone would go. Some would stay behind to keep the Council distracted. It would be the hardest speech of her life. On Mars, Dr. Wright opened a secure channel to the hidden labs in the asteroid belt. "Start building," he told his team. "We're leaving sooner than we thought." Krendar shifted uncomfortably in his seat as the Council meeting grew heated. As the youngest member of the Galactic Council, representing the Tellurian Commonwealth, he rarely spoke at these sessions. Today, he could not stay silent. "The humans deserve a chance to explain," he said, his voice echoing in the vast chamber. "Our treatment of them violates our own rules of fair dealing." Elder Counselor Vex Moore, a tall figure with pale blue skin, looked down at Krendar with obvious distaste. "Your sympathy for these creatures is misplaced," Vexmore said. "Our predictive models show humans will become a galactic threat within 200 years. Their minds work too quickly. Their technology advances too fast. We must control them now." Other council members nodded in agreement. Most feared the humans, even though humans had never attacked any council world. Meanwhile, on the dark side of Earth's moon, Chief Engineer Olivia Patterson walked through a massive underground hangar. Around her, thousands of workers built giant ships. These were not warships but enormous vessels designed to carry millions of people across unknown space. "How soon can the first ship be ready?" she asked her assistant. 3 months if we work around the clock," he replied. Olivia nodded. "Then we work around the clock. These ships are our future now." This was Project Horizon, massive generation ships being built in secret beneath the lunar surface. If humans had to leave council space, these ships would carry them to distant stars. Back on Earth, Daniel Martinez stood tall in his new uniform. At 22, he had just graduated from the Earth Defense Academy. His father, now Admiral Martinez, watched with mixed feelings. "I'm proud of you, son," the Admiral said, "but you join our fleet at a dangerous time." Daniel smiled confidently. "That's why I joined now. Earth needs every trained officer." The Admiral wanted to tell his son about the Exodus Protocol, about the real plans being made, but such information was restricted to the highest levels. Instead, he simply hugged his son. "Be careful," he said. "Things will change quickly in the coming months." In Geneva, Ambassador Lisa Coleman met with representatives from the Arkelian Republic. The Arkelians were one of the few council races who treated humans as equals. "My government cannot openly oppose the council decision," said Brel, the Arkelian diplomat, "but we can provide some help quietly. Technical data, star charts for regions beyond council space." Lisa thanked him warmly. "Any help may save lives if we must leave." On a secure base hidden deep in the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Alan Wright watched as his team tested the new jump drive. The device glowed with strange energy, then successfully teleported a test drone 5 light-years away and back. It was a distance no council ship could jump in a single leap. "It works," he said simply. His assistant cheered, but Alan remained serious. "Now we need to scale it up for the big ships." The secret preparation continued across the solar system. On Mars, the first groups of essential personnel arrived, supposedly for training exercises. In reality, they were the first stage of evacuation. Scientists, engineers, doctors, and teachers. People whose skills would be crucial for building a new civilization. Admiral Martinez watched from the bridge of his flagship as a fleet of Earth ships performed practice maneuvers near Saturn. These crews would form the protection for civilian ships when the time came to leave. "We'll need every ship and every crew at their best," he told his officers. "When the Council learns what we're doing, they'll try to stop us." At Council headquarters, Krendar met secretly with a small group of like-minded officials from other races. They shared his concern about the treatment of humans. "The Council makes a terrible mistake," said an elderly Paxian senator. "Humans bring fresh ideas and energy to our civilization. Driving them away will harm us all." Krendar agreed. "We must try to change the Council's mind before it's too late." But as they spoke, Vexmore was already planning stricter measures against Earth. The humans were taking too long to comply with Council demands. Soon, he would send ships to force their obedience. The sun glinted off the metal hull of an Earth battleship as it slowly drifted into a decommissioning dock. Cameras from across Council space recorded the event. This was the 5th such ceremony this month, showing Earth's compliance with Council demands. "We continue to reduce our fleet as ordered," President Reeves said to the watching aliens. "Earth seeks only peace with the Galactic Council." When the cameras turned off, the President's face grew serious. She turned to Admiral Martinez, who stood beside her. "Are the ships being moved to the Kuiper Belt stations?" she asked quietly. Yes, Madam President. As soon as night falls, this decommissioned ship will be towed to the jump point. Dr. Wright's team will install the new drive system next week. This was the clever deception Earth had created. They publicly showed old ships being taken out of service. But in secret, these same ships were being moved to hidden bases far from Earth. There, they received new engines, weapons, and supplies. In the distant Kuiper Belt beyond Neptune, these ships joined a growing fleet. Each was fitted with Dr. Wright's experimental jump drives that could take them beyond Council space. Frank Daniels walked through the underground city on Europa, Jupiter's icy moon. As the colony leader, he had organized another emergency response drill that day. Everyone reached their assigned ships in under 15 minutes, his assistant told him. The children knew exactly where to go. Frank nodded with satisfaction. These were not really drills. They were practice evacuations. When the time came to leave the solar system forever, the colonists would be ready. Next week, run the same drill but have everyone bring their emergency packs. Frank said, "Let's see how they handle carrying supplies." Near Mars, 2 Earth patrol ships detected something unusual. A small object was moving strangely, changing course to avoid detection. "It's a Council spy drone," the captain said after scanning it. "Shoot it down before it can report back." Laser fire flashed across space. The drone exploded into tiny pieces, but this was happening more often now. The Council was growing suspicious of Earth's activities. On Council Prime, the huge city planet where the Galactic Council met, Krendar walked through a garden with 4 other council members. They had formed a small alliance of those who believed the treatment of humans violated council principles. "My sources say the humans are planning something big," said Nari, a representative from the Pearl Collective. "They appear to comply, but ship movements in their system have increased." "We should warn Vex more," said another member. Krendar shook his head. "No. Vexmore would only use that information to hurt humans more. We must find a way to ease tensions before something terrible happens." But time was running short. The Council's patience with humans was wearing thin. Back in Earth orbit, Admiral Martinez received his new orders. He was now in charge of the Vanguard fleet, ships that would protect civilian vessels when they left the solar system. "It's a big responsibility," John, President Reeves, told him over a secure channel. "You'll be the shield that lets our people escape." "I understand, Madam President. My crews are ready." In Geneva, Ambassador Lisa Coleman continued her diplomatic work. She requested detailed explanations of every council demand. She asked for extensions, clarifications, and exceptions. Each request bought more time for the secret preparations. "The humans are stalling," Vexmore complained during a council session. "They have no intention of truly complying." "They are being thorough," Krendar argued back. "Council demands affect billions of human lives. They deserve time to implement changes properly." The debate continued while humans worked frantically to prepare their escape. In his lab beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Wright uploaded the final specifications for the jump drive to a secure server. From there, the plans were distributed to all shipyards working on the Exodus fleet. "This is it," he told his team. "The final version works perfectly. With these drives, we can reach stars beyond the Council's maps." A young engineer asked, "Will the Council follow us?" "They can't," Dr. Wright explained. "Their jump technology can't match ours now. We'll be gone before they even understand how we did it." As the first Earth colony ships began secret test flights with the new drives, humanity's greatest journey was about to begin. Councillor Vexmore stood before the Galactic Council, his blue skin flushed with anger. 6 months had passed since their demands to Earth, and he had grown tired of waiting. "The humans mock us," he said to the assembly. "They show us old ships being retired while secretly building new ones. I demand we send an inspection fleet immediately." Despite objections from Krendar and his allies, the Council voted to send ships into the human solar system. 10 large Council vessels set course for Earth, led by Commander Zextal of the Varaxian Empire. Find what they are hiding, Vexmore instructed the commander. Do not let them deceive us further. The inspection fleet entered the solar system 3 days later, bypassing the normal diplomatic channels. They split into 3 groups to cover more space. One group headed toward Jupiter and its moons. Another went toward Mars. The third approached Earth. Near the orbit of Saturn, the group heading to Jupiter detected unusual energy readings. They changed course to investigate and found what humans had tried to hide. A massive shipyard floating in space. It was filled with vessels that were supposed to have been decommissioned. Sending images now, the captain reported back to Council Prime. The transmission was sent before Earth forces could stop it. On Earth, alarms sounded in the United Earth Government Emergency Center. President Reeves received the news with a grim face. They found one of the shipyards, her advisor said. We tried to intercept their message, but we were too late. The president straightened her shoulders. Then we have no more time. Send the code word to all commands. Exodus Protocol Alpha is now active. Across the solar system, the message spread. On Earth, Mars, Europa, and a dozen other colonies, people moved quickly to their assigned ships. This was not a drill. The real evacuation had begun. Admiral Martinez's fleet positioned itself near Neptune, preparing to intercept the main Council force that would surely come once the report reached Council Prime. All ships, battle stations, he ordered. Our job is to buy time for the civilian fleet to escape. Within hours, the Council voted to impose immediate sanctions on Earth. They sent a military force of 30 warships to take control of Earth's orbital stations. The humans have violated our trust, Vexmore announced. We must show them the consequences. Krendar stood to object. This is exactly what I warned about. If we push them, we will lose any chance for peaceful resolution. His words were ignored. The Council military force was already on its way. In his lab, Dr. Wright worked frantically to upload the final jump drive specifications to all departing vessels. His hands moved quickly over the control panel as he sent the data to ships across the system. Is everyone ready to go? Asked his assistant. Almost, he replied. The first wave is already leaving. Once this upload is complete, I'll destroy the lab. The Council can't be allowed to get this technology. Outside Earth's atmosphere, the first Exodus ships began to rise from hidden bases. They were massive vessels, each carrying thousands of people. Some were headed to the outer planets to join larger fleets. Others jumped directly to predetermined coordinates beyond Council space. Lisa Coleman stood in the United Earth Government building, watching the ships through a window. She would not be leaving with them. Her job was to stay behind with a small diplomatic team, continuing to engage the Council while most of humanity escaped. It's beautiful, in a sad way, said her assistant. Lisa nodded. The greatest migration in human history. I hope they find something better out there. Near Neptune, Admiral Martinez's fleet detected the approaching Council warships. He had 25 ships against their 30. Not good odds, but his mission wasn't to win, just to delay them long enough. All ships form defensive pattern Delta, he ordered. Target their engines and sensors first. We need to slow them down, not destroy them. As the two fleets closed on each other, President Reeves boarded her flagship. From its bridge, she would send one final message to all of humanity. People of Earth and her colonies, she began as cameras recorded. Today we leave our home, but we do not leave behind what makes us human. Our courage, our creativity, our determination go with us to the stars. Earth must be abandoned, but it will not be forgotten. As she spoke, nearly 1,000 ships began their journey away from the only home humanity had ever known. Space around Earth filled with ships of all sizes. They rose from hidden bases on the Moon, Mars, and the outer colonies. 3 massive fleets formed, each following a different path away from the solar system. Julia Bennett sat in the pilot's seat of the transport ship New Dawn. Behind her vessel followed 200 more ships, carrying over 1 million colonists. As a civilian pilot, she never expected to lead such an important mission. "All ships in convoy report ready," her co-pilot said. Julia took a deep breath. "Tell them to prepare for jump on my mark." She looked at the blue-green planet below one last time. Earth, the birthplace of humanity, soon to be left behind. The thought made her eyes water, but she blinked away the tears. There was no time for sadness now. Jump in 3, 2, 1 mark. 200 ships vanished in flashes of light, using Dr. Wright's technology to travel farther than any Council ship could follow. On Council Prime, Krendar found himself under guard outside the Council chambers. His vocal opposition to the military action against Earth had made him a target of suspicion. "You are not permitted in today's session," said the security officer, "by order of Elder Counselor Vexmore." Krendar's allies had also been removed from Council activities. The voices speaking for peace with humans had been silenced. Near Neptune, Admiral Martinez's fleet engaged the Council warships. Human vessels moved with surprising speed, darting between the larger alien ships. They fired precisely at engines and sensor arrays, disabling rather than destroying their opponents. "Group 3, form a corridor at these coordinates," Martinez ordered. His plan was working, creating a path through which more civilian ships could escape. The cost was high. 3 human destroyers exploded under heavy fire, but for each human ship lost, 4 civilian transports escaped to safety. Martinez watched as his flagship took heavy damage. The bridge shook around him. Emergency lights flashed. "How many of our people have made it through?" he asked his communications officer. "Nearly 70% of the civilian fleet has jumped, Admiral. The rest are in position to follow." "Good. Signal the second phase. We'll hold as long as we can." From her flagship, now safely beyond Neptune, President Reeves watched the battle data with a heavy heart. So many brave men and women were sacrificing themselves to buy time for the exodus. Her chief of staff approached with a report. "Madam President, Earth's major cities are now at 20% population. Most essential personnel have evacuated. The Mars colonies are completely empty. And the knowledge banks, all secure. We've brought our history, art, science, and culture with us. As you ordered, we also downloaded the cultural archives of every Council race. Their history will not be lost even if they someday destroy themselves." The President nodded. Humanity was taking more than just people. They carried the collective wisdom and beauty of Earth, and, ironically, of the very Council that had driven them away. Back on Earth, Lisa Coleman continued her work. When Council representatives demanded to know why so many humans were leaving, she spoke of routine relocations and scheduled colony rotations. "Your sensors must be malfunctioning," she told them calmly. "Perhaps cosmic radiation is affecting your readings." Every hour she delayed them meant more ships could escape. In deep space, Julia Bennett's convoy emerged from their jump. The stars looked different here, far from familiar constellations. "Position check," she called to her navigator. "We're exactly where we should be, Captain. 80 light-years from Earth, well beyond Council territory." Julia allowed herself a small smile. "Signal the fleet to begin scanning for suitable planets. Our new home is somewhere out there." Back in the Neptune battle, Admiral Martinez's flagship took another direct hit. Fires broke out on 3 decks. Damage control teams worked frantically to contain them. "Admiral, the last civilian convoy has jumped safely," reported his second-in-command. Martinez nodded. "Then it's time for us to leave too. Signal all remaining ships. Jump to Rendezvous Point Omega." As Council ships closed in for the kill, the remaining human vessels disappeared in flashes of light, leaving their stunned enemies behind. Aboard her ship, President Reeves received confirmation that the military exodus had begun. The final phase was approaching. Humanity's complete departure from the solar system. "Set course for the Alpha Colony coordinates," she ordered. "Our people need their president to reach the new home." As her ship prepared to jump, She looked at the view screen showing distant Earth, a small blue marble against the blackness of space. Humanity's cradle, soon to be empty. Council warships entered Earth orbit 1 week later. They arrived ready for a fight, weapons charged and shields at full power. What they found instead surprised them. The cities below stood mostly empty. Terminals at spaceports showed no activity. Power stations ran on automatic systems. The great machines of human civilization hummed along, but the people were gone. Commander Zextal led the first inspection team to land in New York. His soldiers moved cautiously through the quiet streets, expecting traps or resistance. They found neither. In a small cafe, an old man sat drinking coffee. He watched calmly as the alien soldiers approached. "Where is everyone?" Zextal demanded. The old man smiled. "Gone. To the stars. Somewhere you can't follow." Similar reports came from across the planet. Humans had left in such numbers that Earth seemed like a ghost world. Only a few thousand remained, mostly older people who had chosen to stay behind. On Council Prime, Vexmore received the reports with growing anger. How could they leave? He shouted at his advisors. Where did they get ships for billions of people? Where did they go? No one had answers. The human exodus had happened right under their watch, yet no council sensors had detected where the ships had jumped to. The humans had simply vanished. 3 days later, the first economic reports arrived. Council worlds that traded with humans suddenly faced shortages. New technology development slowed without human innovation. Prices for goods rose sharply. Krendar, still under watch but allowed to attend council sessions again, stood to address the assembly. "I warned this would happen," he said. "Humans brought energy and new ideas to our civilization. Now they are gone, and we already feel their absence." More council members began to listen to him. The harsh treatment of humans now seemed like a terrible mistake. Back in Earth orbit, Zextal's science team made another discovery. All of Earth's defense systems had been destroyed before the humans left. They had taken their most advanced technology with them and ruined what they couldn't take. "They left nothing we can use against them," Zextal reported to Vexmore. "No weapons, no jump drive plans, nothing." In Geneva, Lisa Coleman prepared for her final act as Earth's ambassador. She had stayed behind with a small diplomatic team, maintaining the illusion of ongoing negotiations. Now it was time for the last human representatives to leave. The council delegation arrived for what they thought was another meeting. Instead, Lisa handed them a small data crystal. "This is humanity's final message to the Galactic Council," she said formally. The lead diplomat took it cautiously. "What does it say?" Lisa's eyes were cold. "It says, 'You feared what we might become, so we leave you to your diminished future.'" With that, she and her team walked out. A small ship waited to take them to a hidden jump point where they would follow the others into exile. As council investigators continued searching Earth's databases, they made a startling discovery. Humans had not only taken their own knowledge, but had also downloaded the complete cultural and scientific archives of every council race. "They took everything," reported a shocked analyst. "Every book, every piece of music, every scientific paper from every council world. They even took historical records going back thousands of years." "Why would they do that?" asked a council member. Krendar understood. "They are preserving what we are, even as they leave us behind. Perhaps they believe we will destroy ourselves someday." The irony was not lost on the council. They had feared humans would become too powerful, yet the humans had valued council culture enough to save it. 2 weeks after the Exodus, the last human military vessels prepared to leave. Admiral Martinez stood on the bridge of his damaged flagship, now repaired enough for one final jump. "All remaining Earth Defense Fleet ships report ready, Admiral," his second-in-command said. Martinez looked at the view screen showing Earth, beautiful and blue. "Then it's time. Set course to join the colonies. Let the Council have what's left." As the last human warships jumped away, they left behind a final automated message broadcasting on all frequencies. We go to build something new. You are not invited to follow. 5 years passed since humanity left Council space. The Galactic Council faced problems they never expected. Without humans, technology stopped improving as quickly. Trade routes that once carried human goods now sat empty. Several smaller council races began fighting over resources that had become scarce. Krendar, now a senior council member, stood before the full assembly. His warnings from years ago had earned him respect as others saw he had been right. "We must find the humans," he said to the gathered representatives. "Not to punish them, but to make peace. We need what they brought to our civilization. Their energy, their new ideas, their different way of thinking." Even Vex Moore, who had led the push against humans, remained silent. The economic reports on his desk showed serious problems across council space. Planets that had depended on human trade now struggled. Research centers that had built on human ideas now made little progress. "I will lead an expedition myself," Krendar continued, "to seek out the humans and offer our apology." The council voted to support his mission. 3 ships would travel beyond council space, following the faint trail the humans had left. Meanwhile, in a star system 80 light-years from Earth, humanity had built something remarkable. On a planet they named New Terra, a gleaming city rose from the plains. Its towers reached toward the sky, and its streets bustled with activity. Admiral Martinez, now retired, walked through a park with his son Daniel. Around them, children played who had never seen Earth. "Do you miss it?" Daniel asked. "Earth, I mean." The old admiral nodded. "Every day. But we've made something good here." Beyond New Terra, human colonies spread across 12 star systems. Using Dr. Wright's jump drive technology, they traveled distances that would have taken council ships centuries to cross. They discovered wonders the council had never seen and built cities on worlds the council had thought uninhabitable. In her office on New Terra, President Reeves prepared to step down after 5 years leading the Exodus. She looked at reports from all the colonies with pride. Humanity had not just survived, it had thrived. "The council ships have been detected approaching the edge of our space," her aide reported. Reeves was not surprised. "We knew they would find us eventually. Are the message boys in position?" "Yes, Madam President. They'll find our greeting when they reach the border." At the edge of human space, Krendar's small expedition followed energy traces and scattered signals. After months of searching, they detected an automated beacon floating in empty space. "It's broadcasting a message," the ship's communication officer reported. On the main screen, words appeared in the common council language. "To the Galactic Council, humanity has established the Free Star Alliance, a new nation beyond your reach. We welcome peaceful contact with all species except those who drove us from our home. If you wish to trade or talk, send no more than 1 ship to these coordinates. Any military vessels will be turned away." Below the message were directions to a small outpost at the edge of human territory. Krendar ordered his ship to follow the coordinates alone. The other 2 vessels remained behind as requested. When they arrived at the outpost, a single human ship met them. On its side was painted a new symbol, a phoenix rising from flames. "This is Captain Olivia Patterson of the Free Star Alliance," came a woman's voice. "State your purpose, council vessel." "I am Counselor Krendar. I come to apologize and to see what humanity has built." After a pause, the human replied, "Permission granted for your shuttle to dock. 1 visitor only." When Krendar stepped onto the human station, he was led to a viewing room. Through a large window, he could see a distant star system. The guide activated a high-powered telescope, revealing a spectacular city on an alien world. "This is New Terra," the guide explained, "one of 27 human worlds now. We've made contact with 3 new intelligent species the Council never found." Krendar stared in amazement. All this in just 5 years. The guide smiled. "You feared what we might become. Now you'll watch what we can be, from a distance." As Krendar prepared to return to Council space with news of what he had seen, He received one final message from the human leadership. Tell the council they are welcome to establish an embassy at this outpost. But they should know, we will never again put our future in their hands. The stars belong to those brave enough to reach for them.